Very nice work making it to the end of lesson 6. We're at the last exercise, which is favorite animals. This is technically the last exercise before we move back into the portfolio project. So let me demonstrate, and then after this, you should have everything you need to jump in and build that portfolio next level. So for this website, we're going to create a table that lists your favorite animal for each continent. And don't worry, if you don't have one, we can totally use the animals in the example. That's what I plan to do. So don't freak out about having to think of an animal. Just have fun with this. Again, the point is to implement the Bootstrap concepts that you're learning in this lesson. So some more of the Bootstrap components, okay? The exercise is broken down into several parts. First, we have the basic page structure. Then we're going to go ahead and add that table. And then finally, we're going to stylize it. So here's an example. It's going to have this Jumbotron, favorite animal by continent, and then, of course, the table that lists all of the continents and our favorite animal. So let's go ahead and get started. And first thing you're going to want to do, as always, run your code. In this case, we have literally nada, nothing. So we're going to start from scratch, again, following the exercise instructions. All of the content should be in a div with the class container. Remember, this is like the first step to a Bootstrap page because this is what makes it responsive, and this is what gives you that Bootstrap styling as far as the overall page content goes. So everything goes in that container. All right, once you have that, we're going to put in our Jumbotron. So this is div with the class equal to Jumbotron. And as soon as the browser sees this Jumbotron class and we've incorporated the Bootstrap CSS and JavaScript, it already knows that whatever Bootstrap class Jumbotron features there are in the most current version is what's going to get applied to your project. So just simply, we're going to type in favorite animal by continent. Oops. Okay, there we go. So let's run this, see what we have so far. It should be pretty basic. Okay, excellent. Now, you may also want to wrap your text with the H1 tag just to make sure that you get a little bit larger of a size. So I'm just going to take this and wrap it around and rerun it. Okay, so far so good. So we got this nice large Jumbotron at the top. Now we're ready to start putting in our table. So first thing we're going to want to do is create our table before we add in any of the Bootstrap stuff. So table, oops, there we go. Got to spell that correctly. And the exercise instructions do give us the hint to use head and body. So we want to make sure that we style that appropriately because this could we could run into issues if we don't with Bootstrap. And again, you'd be doing this either way, with or without Bootstrap, but you definitely want to make sure you have this if you're incorporating Bootstrap features. So once we have our head in, remember the head is just holding in the table headers. We need to create a row in that. And since we have two cells, we're going to use TH twice. Okay, so remember TR stands for table row, TH stands for table header. And the first header is going to be continent. That's going to be the left side. And the right side is going to be our favorite animal. All right, now inside of the table, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 continents. Is it me or are we missing one? Okay. Moving into the body, we're going to put in those rows. So just following the model, I'm just going to put in 6 rows. Actually, before I put in the rows, let me go ahead and put in the table data tags. Remember, these are the cells in your row. So similar to your TH tags, these create cells in the row, but rather than bolding the content, it just leaves it as standard formatting. So since we have 2 cells in each row, I have 2 TD tags, and that's pretty much going to be the format for all of my rows. So I'm just going to paste that 5 times since we have 6 rows in total. Now, just to make things quicker for the purposes of demonstrating, I'm going to copy what's here in the example, but please do not feel like you need to. Remember, these exercises are for you to, take an opportunity and also express yourself because that's what coding is all about. It's just another tool in your toolbox to practice self-expression. So have fun with this. Take your time. I'm just not trying to keep you here forever, but if you decide to go with this, that's also cool. All right, so we got Europe, The Y-cent, I have no idea what that is. I'm going to have to Google that. All right, we have North America, the mountain lion. It's probably my favorite animal, period. And then we got the Amazon parrot, which I bet is amazingly gorgeous. Okay, so let's run this. Hopefully we have our table. And so far so good. Okay, definitely not the best formatting. Things are a little bunched up, but we can fix that when we get to styling. So let's go back to our exercise and see what else is left. We have the table done, and now we're ready to stylize. Now, before we move into stylizing, remember, in order to get that Bootstrap table style, we simply just add class equals table. And I believe we want this to have borders and be striped. So I believe the class is table striped. But if I'm wrong, we can go back and look at the docs. Actually, let's do that now. So if I go to docs and I scroll down to Bootstrap, we can go to the Bootstrap site to look at the documentation. And let's look up tables. So quickly, here's the basic example. So for the striped rows, we do table striped. So we got that part perfect. And for borders, we add table bordered. So that's simple. We can just go ahead and add a third class in. So table dash bordered. Let's run that and see what we get. Oops, make sure you're spelling these classes correctly. All right, that's really dramatic difference, okay? This is what our table looked like, remember, before without any Bootstrap. And just by adding in these three classes, table, table striped, and table bordered, you get a whole different table instantly. No CSS required. Because remember, all the CSS is here in this Bootstrap CSS file that is already pre-made. And so all we need to do is plug in the class names we want and we get all the style applied. So this looks really good for something we put together in 5 minutes. Let's go ahead and wrap it up with the styling. So last part's going to be adding in a background color to our Jumbotron and changing the font color as well. So let's go into the style sheet and let's add a background color for our Jumbotron. And I'm going to go ahead and go with something just a basic HTML color, which is green. But remember, you can always go into the docs and up at the top, if you go to color names, you can get a list of other colors or the full list of HTML supported colors here. So again, don't have to stick with the basic colors. Feel free to explore and add in some different options. So last but not least, we may need to change the font color as well. I don't think we'll run into that issue here. Actually, since it's default black, let's change our color to white. And well, it's kind of like a gray color. And then let's style the content inside of the T head tag with a different background color and font color. So we kind of have some contrast. So for my T head, that's just going to be T head for the tag. That's basic CSS. So the color, we can make it, let's see, I'm going to pick something from this table. So maybe for the font color, I can go with this dark salmon. I'm going to just copy that hex code. And for the background color, I might go with something in the blue family that complements it. So let's try this Dodger blue. That sounds good. I love how HTML has a Dodger blue color. That's really awesome. First time I've actually seen it. Okay, so save it and let's run our webpage one more time and see what we get. Okay, don't see anything changing here. Let's make sure our style sheet's linked. Let's go back into index. And it looks like we have a link to the Bootstrap CSS, but we don't have a link to our CSS. So our webpage has no idea that we want those rules to be applied. So we're going to have to go ahead and do that manually. Okay, style sheet, type equals text CSS, href style CSS. Let's refresh this, fingers crossed. Okay, what are we missing? Oh, I think I left everything. Let me double check this actually. I think everything in my code might be commented out for some reason. There we go. Okay, so that was actually because the CSS was commented out. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, it was all green. That means that this was actually being ignored by the browser. So let's uncomment it. That was because I probably deleted something in the default code. Again, let's refresh. Okay, there we go. So Jumbotron's working. Still don't got my T-head working. So let's examine that. So T-head color. Got to close out that line of code. Okay. It's working. Not the best contrast. I'd probably go back and choose a different color, maybe something a little darker for the background or lighter, but you get the idea. Maybe orange is a little too clashy, so just off the top of my head, I would say white would definitely be a better option, and that should provide a better contrast. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the exercise for favorite animals. Now, all that's left to do is go into Kit's photo portfolio and basically take everything that we've learned as far as these extra Bootstrap components and incorporate them into the portfolio. Very nice work. If there's any questions, please let me know.